Hey everyone, School of Dragons has officially shut down a good bit ago. Um, I wanted to make this video for my last few clips of what I had left. I decided to spend my last moments with my first dragon named Midnight. She is a Titan Flightmare that has been with me since 2016, and where the location where we started off at was where I did the tutorial where you meet Hiccup and Toothless and ride Toothless while there's a battle going on. And this is where I had originally met Midnight. Now, I decided to take at least a lap around a few areas because these were some of my favorite areas I like to share with Midnight during the time. And Midnight was stuck in a cage, so you had to go around and find an axe to be able to free your dragon. And this wasn't just a place where I got to befriend a dragon, it was also where I got to meet the other characters and be able to catch my first fish here. Funnily enough, when catching a fish, it ended up being a brown trout, in which that was the very first fish I caught when I first played the game. Now, after wrestling with the trout, I was able to catch it, and after a little bit of lag with the game, I had to skip a little bit so it could load in that I caught it. And after that, I gave it to Midnight because that is one of her favorite fish she loves to eat. The sun, the sunrise there is so beautiful to me, and so is the sunrise at the lookout. I decided after doing where our adventure had started for the very first time was to go to School of Dragons because that was the second location we had ever went to, and we did most of the things we've ever done there. So we took a lap around the school, and I very briefly memorized a lot of the adventures that we had there. Then we took a quick flight around the training ground where we got to battle and be able to do the flight club together as well as with other dragons. There's one spot in the training ground that we love to go to, which is high on top, where one of the respawns is when it comes to being injured in the battle, where you could both heal up and be able to reload the fireballs. We didn't sit there long because there was so much time that we had to use before the time was up. And so, of course, mentioning the lookout earlier, that is where we headed to next. The lookout has a really beautiful sunset here, and it's one of the places where you can sit there and talk to other Vikings and be able just to hang out. There's a big cave system where I got to play with a few others, a little hide and seek game, and of course you could see other names and all, which you could turn off in the settings, but it was fun to play because everyone's just sitting there having a fun time. And even once or twice got to play a game of tag. The wilderness I very briefly went through with Midnight, where we first learned how to make our own little house in the wilderness to survive and make a little fire. And it's a really calming place that you just casually fly around at. Then this is when we decided to go to Burke. It was our home, and we got to see Stoic before he ended up passing and all. After going to Burke, we went to Titan Island. This cool, mysterious island fascinated me in the first place because when I had first joined the game, there was no smoke like how it is now that surrounded everywhere. So now it looked more ominous and mysterious, but I can assure you that nothing troublesome had arisen from here. And despite the lag, you'd see it started lagging a bit when recording. We had decided to come here for her Titan transformation. She was the very first dragon that I tightened, and still to this day, she has stayed by my side. She was my first everything in this game. And one of my favorite places to fly was to go to the ship graveyard. It's a really fitting place for a flight mirror to me, and not a lot of players hang around there, which is a really interesting thing. Not a lot of players hang around, but it's a really cool area where it's nighttime, you have a full moon. It's not really bright, but it's just a nice little area if you want it to feel a little bit spooky, just kind of fly around. Then, of course, we had to face the reality that we were running out of time, so we went to New Burke. New Burke, I got to fly around with Midnight one more time just to kind of take it all in. And remembering we used to do this one thing. We go to the highest point in this area, which is where, if the audio is aligned to the video, is where we're headed at now. We go all the way to the top, and then from there we will either fly down where I am still on top of Midnight, or I will use the flight suit and dive down from there with her following. And in this case, I figured it's the last time, might as well do the flight suit. And so we decided to go and do it one last time to feel that rush of adrenaline and all. I know here we had decided to go to Hidden World because it was such a heavy decision to do Burke or the Hidden World, and I figured for our ending it'd be best to do what happened in the last movie, which is where they go home. I felt like it was very fitting and the best option to put my mind at ease, and to, even though this is considered to just be a game and all, is something that I have been playing for 7 years. It is something I have become involved in for so long without really much put out there for it. And I love, love, love the glow of the flight mirror in the Hidden World. It's so beautiful to me. So within this, we took one last lap around the Hidden World and visited the Light Fury and Toothless. And then we waited because there was nothing else we could do to stop the timer. one point, after giving it much thought, I figured it was time to take off the saddle. And even though I took the saddle off, just sat there in silence watching. Because obviously we can't say much to each other, but we just spent our last few moments just in each other's company. And there's a few times where I shifted positions and all with her. And while watching, she decides every now and then to take a nap. And we even watched as the timer went down. Even though the timer ran out, we sat there for what seemed like eternity. I think I want to say it was around 1 o'clock or 1:30 something in the morning. I don't remember the precise time, sadly, but we stayed on forever since the timer ran out. And I remember one, maybe two other people was streaming. And I wanted to stream, I wanted to do that, but I figured no one would want to join in or anything and it'd be too laggy. So I decided to record all of this instead. And I have a good chunk of videos I can do for this. But I knew one of the final things I wanted to capture was my last moments with her. Midnight was my first dragon through everything. She was there for me. And I love this game. I absolutely love this game. It was not how it was to me joining at this point. It was just kind of barely learning, but just playing, whether you're just playing on your own or if you're just role playing or something like that. It meant the world to me and a lot of other people. I figured that despite everything that's happened, this is how I wanted it to end. Eventually, I was watching when it decided to log me out. I had been moving so it wouldn't kick me out for inactivity, but it kicked me out because the server was shutting down. And so I had to regretfully press the button to accept that it kicked me out. And it tried to recognize that I was playing, other people were playing, that there was even a server at all. And you'd hope so much for it to reconnect, but knowing it's not going to reconnect. And to this day, I still can't get over how much this game has impacted me. This was one of my favorite games I got online every day to play. Every single day. I met some friends on there, and of course I met some times where I couldn't really do anything. I hate to see that you had to go this way. And I think this is a day that I will always dread for any of the games I've ever played, is having to see that they will end. It doesn't matter for how long I've been on them or how much time I've been away from it, it's still gonna hurt. And this is one of those games where it will hurt. Especially because it was very special to me. This is one of those games that I can get into compared to the other ones of the franchise. The other ones don't hit the same nor have that same interaction or magical. I don't know. It doesn't draw me in and keep my attention like this one did. My account, this main that I played on, had 116 dragons on it. But with everything that's happened all through the years of this game, I'm proud I got to play this, and I will forever miss it. Goodbye, school dragons. Goodbye, midnight. Goodbye, my other dragons, and goodbye, my Viking. Maybe a day will arise where something very similar to this can happen. But until then, I will have to say